Hey everybody, thanks for listening to the show. This is the MaD Radio podcast. I'm Robert Davis, the host. I want to thank everyone for listening. Just a heads up for people, in the coming weeks we will be changing our host for the podcast. So if you currently get the show through Podomatic, in a few weeks we will no longer be putting it out there. You can already find us on SoundCloud. The link will be in the comment section of this episode. If you subscribe through iTunes, unfortunately, we'll need to resubscribe with the new info, but we will go over that in more detail when that switch actually happens. Alright, everybody, our guest today is Vern Struble of the Learn, Vern, Learn podcast. Hope everyone enjoys. I know we did. Hey friends, welcome. This is going to be episode 8, right?
Episode 8.
Episode 8 of the MaD Radio podcast. I'm your host, Robert Davis. My co-host, Matt Flowers. We are going to be joined today by a very special guest. We've had him on before, but unfortunately we lost all the audio due to some technical difficulties. He's back on. Out of the goodness of his heart, he's sparing us the time again. Mr. Vern Struble. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Hey-o. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Vern is the host of his own podcast, the Learn, Vern, Learn podcast. You can tell us a little bit about it, Vern, before we get going?
Sure. The Learn, Vern, Learn podcast is a podcast I started just about a year ago now. It was supposed to be like an RB Rogan board themed podcast. I wanted to highlight the sense of community that we have on the Rogan board, and that was pretty much the main goal, and to hopefully make some people laugh and give shout outs and draw attention to great threads, great posters, things like that. So it's the Learn, Vern, Learn podcast. There's actually a Facebook page if anyone is a Facebook and wants to check that out. Go ahead. That would be awesome. And we have the Learn, Vern, Learn podcast YouTube channel also. So
it's an awesome podcast. It's really cool because just the interaction. Like you'll have a guest on, and like you said, this is the Rogan board is where all the three of us met. But there's so many cool people involved. You always have somebody on that you interview, and then you also have the call-ins and the shout-outs and things like that. It's very much a collaborative effort in a way. I mean, of course, it's you putting it together, but so many people kind of throw stuff into it. It's very awesome. It's kind of really what kind of inspired us to let us know that it's possible to do something neat and make a podcast, and it's fun.
Yeah, I agree. I've had a lot of fun with it, and I genuinely believe that it's the other posters and the I work at it, but it's the other posters that really make make it what it is, and I think that's why it's been pretty well received, and I think that's a big reason for it is because having other posters on that posters want to hear about, or wonder who they've been talking to over the last fucking however long they've been on the board.
Right. It's fun because, and anybody that listens to it knows that it's not just like a product they consume or anything like that. It's something that everybody is or can at least be a part of at some point, and just
it's a community art project.
Really, it is.
Kind of. And I feel bad because I've had people wanting to be a guest on it, and it's so part of me is just fucking lazy, and then the other part of me is like I'm an introvert, like by nature, and so I get nervous talking to people I haven't talked to, or I'm like an introvert cup of ice cream with like streaks of extrovert in there,
squirted on
mostly, and I apologize because I've been dragging my feet on it, but anyway, I love doing it, and you guys are rocking with it's really great to see your guys' podcast take off like it is.
It's blown me away.
Especially coming from you, Vern, who is, I mean, absolutely a huge influence on why we even started. It means a lot, like, that you're even bothered to coming on,
Oh, you guys, I love you guys, and I really, I hope, I just hope everything goes great for you guys, and most of all, I just hope you have a lot of fun with it. I think that's the most important. Yeah.
We're having a blast, and since we're talking about our little project we got going here on the Rogan board, but guys, we have a website that's upcoming fairly soon. Okay, so right now we're kind of based off the Rogan board a little, like it's our base. Okay, and when a few days ago, myself and Matthew, we sort of put in our head that we needed to get a website. We needed to get a different way to serve the podcast to people. So we broke down and put up a donation link. And we are truly touched by the amount of support that our listeners have given us. We really cannot express our gratitude anymore for the people who have given just any amount. It's so generous.
It's been ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Like, people are just so nice, and it's a level of just I'm just so humbled by how people have sort of treated us. Like, we put out this product that people were just wanted to help.
I mean,
that's so amazing.
Within 5 minutes, it was over, well beyond over what we ever even conceived of being a possibility in terms of donations, and it's just we keep texting each other or being on Skype and just saying, like, why, what.
This is not what people are supposed to do with money.
That's it. This is not. Why? It's just fucking tremendous.
We can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I lost Davis.
Me too. That's fine. Well, I guess I'm recording it, so yeah, we'll just keep going. I think he got a little too emotional for the internets to handle, and with good reason. It really was. It's been mind-blowing, and we decided we weren't necessarily going to name anybody's names or anything that way, because we didn't know who wanted to be there, have their names out on it or not. You back there, Davis? You cut out there briefly. We decided your emotions overwhelmed the internets there for a bit.
I had a little tear going. It must have got the internet lines a little bit wet, a little bit moist, and they couldn't run.
Yeah, just kind of
I had to dry it out. I had to drop my internet in a cup of rice.
Yeah.
And I just pulled the water out.
Yeah. It can't even be expressed how much we appreciate it and how blown away we are by the whole thing. It's incredible.
That's awesome. That's great, and it's really great. I'm happy for you guys.
So I think we've spent enough time on that situation. We have a MaD Radio announcement to make, Matthew. Okay.
We do.
Yes, we do. The MaD Radio will be boycotting the next Batman movie. We will not be going to see it.
See, this is why you didn't want to talk about it before we started recording.
It's a bold stance.
That's a bold stance for that to have been taken by our podcast without consulting me before we were on air.
Because once I tell you why, you're going to agree.
I don't know about that. I think Ben Affleck looks pretty badass in that new outfit, and that Batmobile is on point, though.
See, and I agree. I think the movie's probably going to be really good. But would you like to take a guess about who has been cast as the Joker?
There's going to be a Joker in it? Because it's Batman.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking Batman versus Superman, right?
No. There's a new Batman movie coming out.
That's after the Batman versus Superman.
I think so.
No, because the Batman versus Superman is to set up the Batman character. They're trying to ape the whole Marvel thing where they're, slowly putting characters in. They're going to have a Justice League movie that's going to be far inferior to anything Marvel's released because their characters have always been far inferior. And also, they don't have Robert Downey Jr. But that's my end of the rant there. Who's been cast as the Joker?
Jared Leto.
No! No! You're absolutely fucking right. I completely agree. I am not seeing that piece of shit film with that piece of shit motherfucker in it. You hear me, Leto? Fuck off. What did he have in that last movie everybody loved him for? What was it, AIDS?
Oh, well, so something, I don't know.
Dallas Buyers Club. It was AIDS. It was AIDS. Guess what? He should have been a method actor a little bit further than just eating a fucking apple and a can of tuna every day to lose the weight. He should have just actually gotten AIDS.
Okay, who was he in Dallas Buyers Club? I have no idea who this guy is.
A transsexual.
Oh, was he the best friend of the main character?
I never saw the movie. I don't watch any movies with that piece of shit in that. Have I told the story on the podcast of why we hate him?
See, I don't care if you have told it yet. You're going to tell it now.
Okay, it's a piece of shit. Now, hold on. Okay, maybe he was the best friend. He was the most feminine-looking one. He was in Fight Club. He got beat. It was the most beautiful scene he's ever been in because he got the shit kicked out of him. He was the main character in Requiem for a Dream. If you've seen that, Vern.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, that.
Oh my god! I never knew that was him playing the tranny in Dallas Buyers Club.
He wasn't playing a part. He was just being active, true to himself.
Wow. Okay, and excuse my vulgar tranny word. I'm not quite up to the PC standards of.
We're strong supporters of the transsexual community here at the MaD Bro Radio Podcast. Tranny it slips out from time to time, and you know what? I think that there's a lot of transsexuals that are fine with the term.
Okay.
He was clearly talking about a transmission.
Yeah, you were just talking about cars. Yeah, that's what he played in that movie. They were buying cars in Dallas.
Okay, so tell us the story about why we together hate Jared Leto.
It's very touching that you actually hate him because of this. I told the story to you, and I didn't know that you actually. I've told it to you a couple times. I didn't know that you really cared about me enough to really make that dictate how you felt about the individual. But
before that moment, I had no opinions about Jared Leto. So the only thing I know about him is that he was a douche.
All right. Okay. So, well, listeners and Vern, Davis has already heard the story. Listeners and Vern here.
Lay it on me.
Jared Leto also, aside from being a terrible actor, fronts a terrible band, and they're called 30 Seconds to Mars. He sings and plays guitar. I could air quote the guitar playing portion of that in this band. They have such hits as most songs that you hear on alternative rock radio that you change the station immediately when they come on. I used to have a girlfriend when I was younger that was working for a booking company here locally that would book bands. So we would have to go. In this particular instance, we were there. It was a 30 Seconds to Mars show. And they also played with a band called Seosin, who the MaD Bro Radio Podcast is a fan of, or used to be, the old Seosin lineup. Anyway, we won't get into them. We were there. We had to be there early, and we were setting up to hand out flyers for future shows from this booking company that booked his band. We were there early to hand out flyers to promote future shows. And while we're there, it's just me and her, and then this crew, and just other people. I mean, we're the only people that weren't there doing a job related to the show or to the venue. And as we're setting up things, there's a guy he's hobbling around. He's on crutches. I don't know why, but he's got your typical rock star. This is a disguise, but it just draws more attention to me so that you know I'm a rock star kind of disguise on. And he's just kind of hobbling around looking angry. And there's always a posse of at least 2 or 3 people just up his ass, following him around. He's talking to him. But at one point in particular, he kind of walked by and my girlfriend at the time pointed out and said, "Oh, that's Jared Leto." And I at the time I didn't know who she said he was an actor and he was the lead singer in this band. I didn't know who he was at all. In fact, I was a fan of that awful Requiem for a Dream movie that he ruined. So he's hobbling around. He's kind of glaring at us a little bit. There may be a couple other people that are there that aren't like working for his tour, but are there doing jobs otherwise. And he walks by us, and we're clearly still within earshot, and says something, turns to his manager and or whoever's up his ass, and very loudly says something like, "What are these people doing here?" or something like that. What are these people doing here? And mind you, this is a gigantic venue. He has a whole backstage. He has a tour bus. He has literally tons and tons of places he could be, aside from the front door to the fucking venue. And we're only a half an hour before the doors open anyway. And he says something to the effect of like, "Yeah, what are these people doing here?" And he kind of hobbles off. Whoever it was that he said that to came up to us and with their little tour lanyard, like they're important, and was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing in here?" And like tried to play it off like he was the nice guy or whatever. And we told him, we work for the company that I won't name it, but that we work for this company. We're just here to promote. We do this at every show that's booked. We're here. We're setting up to hand out flyers as kids come in. Oh, well, you can do that, but you have to be outside the gates. And it's like there is a line and a crowd of people around the whole building once all the way
for
around
this
it.
Terrible band
Lined up to try and get in to see this shit band. I'd like to think they were all there to see Seosin. And
unlikely.
And we're like, well, no, we're allowed to be here because technically, in this sort of a situation, for people that aren't, and I'm not an expert by any means, but for people that aren't into like how bands or shows or concerts, if you will, are set up, the band doesn't own the fucking venue the moment they arrive. Someone has rented it and is then paying the venue and then paying them, the bands, as well. They really have no say as to who can be there or anything like that. So that's kind of explained to this guy, and he was being nice, and we were nice to him. And he sort of kind of wanders off, and then Jared Letto kind of hobbles by, I should say. I don't know if he injured himself. I'd like to say when he was on stage, he had. Oh, actually, I left before he played. That was a lie. He kind of hobbles by again and glares at us, and he's still, you can tell like the way he's looking at you and the way he's talking to the guy and looking back at us, that he's bitching about our presence there still. I mean, and we could be 25, 50 feet away from the guy, and the guy comes back again and goes, "Could you please, I know you could, could you please just go outside and do that?" And we can't do that. That's not, first off, we shouldn't have to, but it's impossible. You go out there, it's crowds of raving fans. And what are we supposed to sit there with our little card table with the flyers on it? So eventually we have to get the head of this company that booked this entire show to come down from the office of this venue and try and talk to the manager. And it got to the point where it was explained that, of course, we could stay there. But I think the impression I got, at least, was that he was bitching so much about it that it was almost like, well, I'm not going to play the show or something. It was so much so that the guy that we worked for came up and was like, "Okay, guys, we're just not going to hand out flyers until the doors are open." And we had to like take this card table and these chairs and this box with flyers in it and sit in the hallway outside of this cavernous fucking venue where there's nothing going on, just so Jared Letto couldn't see us there before he played that show.
And that is why we encourage all of you to not go see the new Batman movie.
He's gonna be the Joker?
Exactly.
I hope he mimics the Heath Ledger version of the Joker all the way to the unfortunately early death. Yeah, to the very end.
Wow.
I don't wish death on a lot of people.
Nominations.
Yeah, fuck the Oscar nominations. I just want him to die. No, I don't really want you to die, Jared Letto. You're actually, that story is one of my very few claims to fame is that Jared Leto didn't want to see me while he paced the venue he was about to play. So that's that. Fuck that guy.
It's a solid reason. Yeah, I think if things had worked out differently, Robin Williams would have made an excellent Penguin for Batman.
He had interest in being Joker when Heath Ledger got it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I read that recently. I think he would have done great as that as well. Jack
William
Nicholson.
Dafoe.
I don't know who that is. I know the name, but
Yeah, he'd be perfect. Jack Nicholson was not that good. Or it could just be that George Clooney was that bad.
George Clooney wasn't the Batman in that movie. It was Michael Keaton.
Oh, really? Which
That was
one
Batman
George
'89.
Clooney?
George Clooney was the worst Batman movie of all time, according to a lot of people. I liked it when I was a child. I think it came out in, 98, 99? Maybe earlier than that. Maybe 97. But it had Alicia Silverstone. The villain was Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze.
Dude, that was awesome.
Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy, and some unnamed person as Bane.
I don't even remember Bane being in that movie.
That's because he was basically a non-character. I think he was like working for Poison Ivy. He died pretty early on. But Jim Carrey was a good Riddler, was he not?
Mm.
You know, the problem with those movies was I just went on a crazy Batman research thing just a couple months ago.
The problem is they didn't have a method actor who specialized in trannies.
Wait, what? Oh, that's right. That's what they're lacking. They switched directors. Well, they had Tim Burton for Batman '89, and for the one that had Danny DeVito as the Penguin. And Tim Burton did great, I thought. But then they switched it over to this Joel what's-his-face, and I feel like he ruined everything about Batman. Like there was a big to-do about their outfits. They had like very enlarged cod pieces and nipples on the bat suits and shit. Like just weird stuff. I don't know. And who was the guy that played it before Clooney? I hate him as an actor as well, just because his face is annoying.
Adam West.
No. What? No, we're not. No, I'm talking like the one between Michael Keaton and George Clooney. Oh,
I have no clue, dude.
I'll look it up. He was an awful guy. It was the one that had Nicole Kidman in it.
And we won't be seeing it.
I'll be boycotting it to the bitter end. Someday I'll have a child that will want to see all the Batman movies, and we're gonna skip that one.
Like he's gonna get the Blu-ray set for Christmas,
and you're
gonna open it ahead of time.
Santa Claus pulled the coal out of that box set, buddy.
But Prince nailed that fucking first Batman soundtrack.
Yeah, you're goddamn right. Yes,
I know that.
Oh, and that's
Prince?
my favorite scene of any Batman movie is when Jack Nicholson Joker and his thugs are going through that art museum, right? And they got all the paint, and it's playing that funky ass song. One of them has a boombox. This is like, it was my first favorite movie, so I watched it thousands of times. This, to me, just summed up what the 80s were, because I wasn't alive in the 80s. I was born in 91. And it was just like a thug with a boombox, and they all had like their robber masks, your generic ski masks, and the Joker's walking around with his little cane, and they're just spray painting all over these fucking paintings while that Prince song is playing. And that was the shit. That was cool as fuck. And it holds up. I rewatched those two Tim Burton movies. They hold up.
I'm gonna go ahead and be that guy, but Prince is pretty overrated.
You know what? You make a good point as far as his recent appearance on Saturday Night Live. All these reviews are saying what a genius fucking. It was good. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't some fucking crazy,
he's not
over the top fucking Beethoven shit. Or
he's not the Leonardo da Vinci of music.
I honestly couldn't tell you name. What is Purple Rain a song or an album? I couldn't name you one
Both.
Prince song.
It's an album song. It's a soundtrack.
The movie.
That was actually a really good movie.
I've never gotten into him, but and on the subject of him being overrated, you know how every year, as if this somehow changes, this is something that's, first off, as if this is something that's quantifiable, but also as if it's something that changes yearly. Guitar magazines like Guitar World or Guitar Pro or whatever the fuck, either one, they'll release their 100 greatest guitarists of all time. And there was a couple, when I first started playing guitar, and I was actually reading this magazine still, before I realized the internet, you don't need to read it on paper.
Magazines?
Right. So, but for at least one of those years, Prince was rated the greatest guitar player of all time.
Okay.
which is absurd.
I've seen him. Honestly, my musical taste. I was brought up by my dad was anti-Prince, any of that kind of shit. He was into
Cat
your
scratch fever.
right, cat scratch. Yeah, all of your classic rock, all the classics and shit. So I was kind of biased in that way. But I did see. Didn't he play the Super Bowl a couple years back?
Yes.
Yeah.
He could tear up the fucking guitar. I've watched a couple solos on YouTube and things like that, or songs, I should say. I'm not a guitar solo type dude, generally speaking, but he can fucking play the guitar like a badass. Yes, but is he the greatest of all time? Absolutely not.
Oh, not the greatest, I don't think. I think he's probably like in the top 50, probably, to be.
I'd put him on the top 100.
I don't play guitar, so it's really hard for me to, legitimately comment on that.
I play the guitar poorly that I can't really judge this either.
Panda, can you name 100 guitarists right now?
Easily.
100.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, if
I could not only name 100 of them, but I bet I could tell you for at least between 25 and 50 of them, I could tell you what equipment they used, from guitar to the pedals, effects pedals, to the amplifier, at some point in their career. That was my shit for like 5 years. That's all I was obsessed with, was just guitar gear. And I could. I mean, I would say probably 50.
I'm sorry. I think, not to get off that point and back onto the Prince thing, but I think he's at the point in his career where he's kind of enjoying. You know how some comedians, they get so fucking famous, right, that they go on stage and they don't even really have to be funny anymore. They just have to say the joke with the inflection of being funny, and they get those laughs. That's kind of like, on the musical side, I think that's where Prince is at in his career.
I've never thought of it that way.
Have you seen anything, Steve? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, anything Steve Martin's done in the past 15 years?
Has he done anything on stage?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he does stand-up.
His movie.
You know what? He's a badass banjo player. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You're right, I haven't seen anything recent, but I've liked his movies and shit, like Father of the Bride's movies. I like those. And when I grew up, my mom had these, albums. They were fucking vinyl back in the day, and she had this Steve Martin like double album where he's in the cover in like a bunny suit.
Yes!
Or bunny hat. And he sings this fucking King Tut song on that. It's a comedy record, but like in the middle of it, there's this King Tut song, and I just remember laughing. That was my first concept of what a stand-up comic was, and so like I have a real warm place in my heart for Steve Martin.
That's the strangest fucking thing, because literally I didn't know that my first comedy, even knowing that stand-up comedy was even, that people could go on stage with a microphone and they did that for a living, was that album. It's the only comedy album I even keep on my phone. And my dad had it on tape. It was like his favorite fucking thing ever. And I feel so retarded. I have to pull out my phone because I have to. On the spot, I don't even know the name now. But my dad had it on cassette tape, and I was listening to this thing when I was a wild and crazy guy. That's what it's called. I've been listening to that since I was fucking 5-6 years old. I have the whole thing. Besides the King Tut song, I always thought that was kind of dumb and whatever. But all the bits and everything, if we played it right now, I could probably just tell, like you know what I mean, just talk along with him throughout the entire. Right. I've heard it so many times. So that's so strange. And you said your mom had that?
Yeah, she had the record.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That was my first thing too. Is like over and over. We would just listen to it over and over and over again. Me and my dad.
Right on. Yeah, it was. I thought it was good for the time, like early '80s. So Davis, you think that that's where Steve Martin is at in his career now? Is just gets laughs because they're expected.
Yeah, him and like George Lopez, like anytime they do anything, they're just doing it in the style of their former self.
Well, you did stipulate somebody that was funny at first. I don't know that George Lopez.
Dude, to his audience, like to his target audience, George Lopez used to be really funny.
That's true. Yeah,
and now he goes and does shows for the same audience and does it in the style of a George Lopez show.
I don't know.
It's still not funny.
I just didn't even know Steve Martin did stand-up or anything. I agree with you 100% on the movies. I don't think I've ever, aside The Jerk, I think is one of my favorite movies ever. But aside from that movie, I don't know that I've watched any Steve Martin movie and found it funny at all.
Really? Like Three Amigos?
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, wow.
What was the one with Queen Latifah?
Oh, yeah.
Cheaper by the Dozen?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
For Bringing Down the House?
Bringing Down the House. Yeah, I was going to say Big Mama's House.
I've only seen clips of that. I've never actually seen that one.
Good movie.
Really?
Good movie. Yeah. It's not because of Steve Martin, but good movie. So you touched on something that sort of sparked an idea in my head there, Vern. What were some things that like your mother and like her generation did that you just didn't understand, and you were like, man, old people are so weird, when you were like a skateboarding 19-year-old?
Were you a skateboarding 19-year-old, for the record?
Yeah, I was actually.
Cool.
I wasn't into the trick. I used it to get around my town sometimes. Some things.
You'd stop anytime you had to go down a bump.
No, I
step
mean,
over.
I put big fat wheels on my board, and it was like strictly transportation. You couldn't really do any tricks on it because the wheels were so heavy, but like I could get around good on it. But my mom's behavior, something that I just didn't get, that was a general.
Her generation, that you were just like, I don't understand how they're into. Like, so, like, I look at, like, I don't get people who are that into Elvis.
Oh, definitely.
I get it, but, like, geez, it's not that good.
I can't even give it that much. I don't understand it at all.
Well, she does something now, her and my stepdad, but there are two things, actually, and I'm going to get no love from you, Davis, on either of these, I'm sure, but something she does now that confounds me is sits for hours and enjoys NASCAR and WWE wrestling. I think it's WWE. I just don't get it, man. And like they comment on it like, oh, this guy's gonna get it now. He's mad, after somebody pulls a move off. He's like, oh, he's not hurt. He's mad. He just watch. And I'm like, are you fucking seriously commenting?
Thank you.
The fucking what's going on in this round is.
Thank you so much. Now Davis is about to just level us with logic, and he's going to somehow turn this around completely and make me watch the next fucking NASCAR thing. And somehow it's going to happen. He's perfect at this.
Yeah. I'm not going to defend NASCAR because I understand that that's a thing that if you don't like it, you don't like it. Okay? But
what wrestling isn't?
No. You're allowed to not like professional wrestling. That's fine. I just think that people are very unfair with it in that they don't. In 2014, they don't pretend to be real anymore. Okay, it is a soap opera for grown men. Okay, it is, instead of the soap opera where every other episode some woman's pregnant and her husband gets killed, it's a soap opera in which every episode someone got their promotion and now they have to fight. Okay, so it is. If you watch it with the same mindset that housewives watch soap operas in, which no one criticizes the stay-at-home mom for watching Days of Our Lives. Okay, it's the same thing. It's just for a different audience. Okay, so I realize that you do look kind of silly thinking that pro wrestling's real, but you also look silly if you watch the Teletubbies and think it's real, or you watch Crank 2 High Voltage and you think it's real. Okay.
Sure. And you know what? When you put it like that, okay, like as far as watching a soap opera, okay, I can kind of relate a little bit, or give them a little bit more slack because they put those soap operas together to where like some major fucking shit's gonna go down, right? Because they have to hook you to the next episode or even to the next after the next commercial break or whatever, and I can see how they're really good at building up to shit. So when you put it like that, I can kind of understand. Okay, I don't judge them so hard because they're commenting on the circumstance, the plot of the fucking thing. So that's a good point.
They've created good guys and bad guys, and you want your good guys to win. And if they weren't getting you emotionally involved, you wouldn't be watching. Okay, so yes, people who think it's real, criticize them. That's silly. It's 2014. Stop it.
Right.
Okay, but you watch it going in with the suspension of disbelief, the same way when I'm watching House of Cards. I know that guy's not the vice president.
Sure. And I guess we do that too, because I've said, man, you gotta watch House of Cards. This shit's going down. This guy's a bad motherfucker. He's evil.
Exactly.
And yeah, and plus, you kind of had me on the argument as soon as you mentioned soap operas, because I tried to hang with this chick once, man, and every day she was into watching Young and the Restless, and before the week's end, I'm fucking into the Young and Restless, and I know who Victor Newman is, and he's a bad motherfucker, and it's easy to get sucked into that shit. Is my point. I have sympathy now.
So, what other unfortunate things have you done while trying to get laid?
Can you?
Hello?
Yeah, can you repeat that question?
What other unfortunate things besides watching Young Restless have you done to try to get laid?
Oh, jeez, are you kidding me?
Either of you?
There's.
Oh, I have no shame, dog. You know my. Yeah. Let's let Vern answer this one.
Just a couple things, or one that I really remember. I sat through the movie in the theater. The movie Sense and Sensibilities. Is that the right name of the title? And a couple other fucking movies just like that, like the I don't even know, Victorian age type fucking movies, all because of a woman. And those movies are just fucking torture to sit through.
Oh, we were talking, Vern, about unfortunate things you've done to get laid.
Yes, I fucking sat through terrible fucking movies. There's this one girlfriend comes to mind where she would like those Victorian age type movies, and Sense and Sensibilities. I fucking sat through that whole movie and fought off fucking sleep for a woman. And another one, dude, after this next one I'm talking about, I had to tell her, I had to draw the fucking line. She drove me to see, or took me to go see, Insects and Angels or some fucking movie like that.
Wait a second. Let's stop on that one.
Oh my god, the shit, and it turned out to be, dude. Sometimes they dress up these movies to look fancy to hide some twisted fucking perverted plot. The plot of that movie was
Angels and Insects came out in 1995.
Okay, yeah, dude, that was all about incest and these two fucking brother and sister fucking and having babies, and the sister was married. She was the main character, and her husband was, starting to wonder, hey, how come all the kids have blonde hair and I don't have blonde hair? And I mean, that was the whole plot of me. He turns out, oh, they're fucking brother and sister fucking. That's what this whole movie's about. I said, that's the last fucked up movie you dragged me to. I'm done. I draw the line.
Wow. So you said all that. Would you like to guess what the IMDb synopsis is?
Please.
No, it's completely unsatisfying. It doesn't say anything about it. In the 1800s, a naturalist marries into a family of British aristocrats. Didn't tell you anything about that stuff.
Meanwhile, they're fucking each other. Yeah.
Yeah, the aristocrats are fucking each other. Like fucking down south stereotype, and they've got these beautiful looking children because they're a beautiful looking family, and meanwhile the guy that's marrying into the family, he's like scratching his head the whole movie going, I wonder why these kids don't look like me. And because
they lost their ass on this movie too.
Well, they got my fucking $11. Bastards.
Wait, it was $11.95 to see a movie?
Well, for both of us.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's $11 now. I mean, for one person.
Wow, they lost a lot of money. $7 million budget, only grossed $5 million. Wow.
Yeah, the fucked up thing is, at the end of the movie, okay, like right before the credits roll, they show you a shot of the title of the movie again. Insects. What's it called? Insects?
Angels and Insects.
Okay, so they show you a title shot, a shot of the movie title, and then they arrange the letters in insects to spell incest, and then the movie ends, and you're just like, what the fuck kind of movie is this?
I've never heard of this shit, but that's awesome.
Oh no.
I'm actually glad it was so fucked up, because it like helped me get the courage to draw the fucking line in the sand about dragging me to these fucked up movies.
Let's do this. And actually, Vern, you should. Okay, Davis and I have decided we're going to each choose a movie, and then the other one has to watch it, and then we're going to discuss it next podcast. Mine is going to be Crank 2, High Voltage.
Okay.
But you should check out the one that I want Davis to watch. I hope it's still on Netflix. That's where I saw it, because it is the strangest fucking movie you will ever see. I mean, that's a high bar to set in today's day and age, but the movie is called Rubber. And all I will say is it's about a tire, like a car tire, that becomes possessed by some entity and kills people.
A tire. Wow.
It's really fucking cool. I mean, I was laughing my ass off the entire time. It's really an enjoyable thing to watch.
Well, if that's what we're doing, then I'm going to change the movie that I'm going to make you watch.
Oh, Christ. Okay, what is it going to be?
It's called Dead Girl.
Okay, who's in it?
Okay.
Anybody I would know? I don't know actors.
I don't remember. Let me look. Yeah, no one with a big name. It's amazing though. It's really good. Like the plot, these two dudes like go through like some sort of abandoned something or another, and they find a dead girl who's like chained up, and the one dude just like they just start having sex with her dead body.
Oh,
okay.
It's a family movie.
It's one to take the kids to, yes.
And the situation dissolves from there, but like they keep her dead body there so they can like have sex with her. And the movie, it's a horror movie, which will tell you more. It's absolutely fantastic though. And now you have to watch it, Matt.
Oh, I'll watch it. Definitely watch it. You've called me Matt twice in this podcast.
I know. I'm slipping.
I'm gonna watch it. It sounds interesting as shit.
Vern, you have to watch Rubber first. Trust me.
Wow.
It's great. Get real high and watch Rubber. You will love it.
This show does not condone drug use. But
okay.
Oh no, I mean high on life. Go
running.
Kratom.
Go running ahead of time.
Kratom's legal. That doesn't get you high though. Okay, yeah, I meant high on life. Yeah.
Okay. Rubber.
Dad, if you're listening, that's what I meant.
And Dead Girl. Gotcha.
All right.
We'll watch.
So let's go back to the podcast, Kate. What have you been watching recently off Netflix, Vern?
A lot of Family Guy.
I've noticed that. I thought it was Matthew's sister.
Oh yeah, we're all utilizing my Netflix account. That's right. No, my sister wouldn't watch Family Guy. Is her One Tree Hill binge over?
I have no clue, but I've probably talked about this, but like the rate in which Matthew's sister watches One Tree Hill is like actually impressive.
I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, but it's very impressive because during that same time period, Davis and I were both watching Lost like madmen. I mean, not like the show.
Entire seasons in a week.
Like crazy people. I would watch like 8 episodes a day on some days.
And she was...
And he was doing the same, and at the same time, she was lapping us.
like, there was one week where I watched an entire season of Lost, and she went through 2 seasons of One Tree Hill. It was just so impressive how much of that show she watched. Like it has to be like she left her iPad on, right?
No. I'm she's a college student. She's actually doing the opposite of what most college students do, and she's actually paying attention to school and things like that. So I think she actually that's what occupies her time. Otherwise, it's great for her. I'm glad she's actually learning and stuff like that.
She has the One Tree Hill on as a background noise as she has 5 black dudes run a train on her.
Hey now.
Oh, you really didn't like that one.
No, it's funny because we don't have visuals anymore, so it's like you thought I was
serial
there.
Wow.
So in our makeup episode, as a result of technical difficulties, we are plagued with technical difficulties.
Yes. We're working on. We're gonna fight through it. We're gonna get to the meat and potatoes of this podcast, with or without Skype cooperating. Well, thanks a lot, Bill Gates. Does Bill Gates really even own Skype? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, Bill Gates owns it. It's his.
I never knew that.
I just recently realized or noticed the word sky in Skype is probably why there's so many fucking cloud graphics on their site. Like, I guess it's in the name. I just never saw it. I feel dumb.
I haven't seen a lot of... Oh, yeah, there's... Yeah, you're right. But why Skype? Why would they name it that?
Well, it was named before they bought it.
I understand that, but whoever named it, why would they name it that?
I don't know if it's because it's similar to hype, the word hype, and I don't know, Sky. I have no idea. It's a catchy name, though.
It worked. Yeah, it definitely is a good name. Talk about a lull in conversation there. Well, we're communicating via Skype, so let's talk about the name of this thing that we're talking through.
Yeah, feel free to edit the Skype segment.
No, we're gonna leave it in. The fans love a good Skype bit of banter. Any reasonable updates there, Dave? Actually, I have something I want to talk about. Davis, you still with us?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. So I hear that you voted Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. I think our states they decided to just roll off in the wrong direction.
I think your state and most states decided the same thing. But so Wendy Davis, is this the end for her? What's going to happen?
So yes, Matthew, Aunt Wendy did. She was unsuccessful, and you're asking if that's it for her?
Yeah. What's her political future? Do you see?
Oh no, she wants to have an unsuccessful bid for president. It's going to turn into a successful bid for governor.
Oh, she's going to run for president?
Absolutely. So what happened here is the Democratic Party looks at Texas and says, okay, we're not going to win that one. What we want to do is we want to be competitive without spending that much money. So here's Wendy Davis, who built herself a national name filibustering the abortion bill. We're going to put her out there. She's going to be competitive because she's a good politician, but it's going to be a big Republican year. So they weren't looking for Wendy Davis to win. They were saying, hey, Wendy, take one for the team. Okay, we're gonna fund it. Just be competitive. She overperformed her party in a big Republican year. You have to be happy with that. So now she's going to try to run for president, and she knows it's not going to work. She's going to fail, but the publicity is going to put her in a position to where she can become governor in 2018.
Well, that's smart politics there, right?
Oh yeah, that's some Frank Underwood shit right there.
Well, good luck to her. It sounds like she's got her long game, planned out.
Yeah, but you would think with that long game she would get that whatever that bump is on her face removed.
Oh, does she have a bump on her face?
I don't know if it's like a big mole or.
Did they call her I thought you said they called her Abortion Barbie. I just envisioned she was just
Abortion
a very
Barbie.
Attractive individual, much like Joni Ernst. Shout out to Joni Ernst.
Of evil.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for having not voted, but she won by such a large percentile. It wouldn't have mattered, and also, yeah, that's it. It wouldn't have mattered, and also, to be honest with you, I find it's almost like I wish that I'm not. Okay, think of it this way. I guess this is the best way to put it, I should say. What's that? I'm sorry. I'm trying to think. Okay, so let's say you're Jon Stewart, right? You do the Daily Show, which is clearly a very a liberal or democratic biased quote unquote news / comedy program.
Hey, he reports. You decide.
No, that's Fox News. But yes, I get the LOLs there. So it's much better for him if we have a bunch of Republicans in all sorts of office, because he has that much more shit to make jokes about. And from where I stand politically, which is I just like talking shit and laughing, this election couldn't have gone any better for me. Mitch McConnell is now, what is he, majority leader or some shit?
Like, I don't understand
Mitch McConnell.
I don't understand why he doesn't open his mouth when he talks.
No, I can't make fun of him without feeling like I'm ripping off Jon Stewart, because he does it just so incredibly well. But Mitch McConnell he is, like I said, the jokes write themselves. I love it now, because now we get to just watch this shit. You can just turn on C-SPAN and it's a comedy show. I mean, it always for the last few years it has been.
Did you see the guy who dropped an N-bomb on C-SPAN?
No, when was this?
Oh, this was a few days ago. Like, they do that show where, like, they let people call in.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy on the phone says, now, I'm a Republican, but these Republicans don't like that in Obama.
Wow.
Dropped an N-bomb on
so it was just a caller. It wasn't a senator.
It was a caller, yeah. No,
there was
you would hear about it if a senator did that.
Well, there was a guy that was running for re-election. I don't know if he was a senator. I think he was a senator from New York State. But I mean, it was like Long Island. I don't know. Whatever. And I'm sure you've probably heard of this, Davis. But he's being interviewed by obviously by somebody from the media.
Okay, use the words.
I'm sorry, you make me nervous. Okay. No, the guy's just asking him questions, and then it ends. Like, he's asking him kind of pointed questions that, of course, he doesn't want to answer, and then it ends. He doesn't know the camera's still rolling, or he doesn't give a fuck, and he takes the interview guy aside and goes, "If you ever do that to me again, I'll throw you off this fucking balcony."
Oh.
And I don't know the status of that. You've heard of it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know the status of that election, but the last that I heard before the election happened was he was leading the other guy by a long shot.
Really?
And I'm sure he probably won, because the other guy, this is me talking politics. Well, then there's this guy, but the other guy said that. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
See, there's the anti-abortion guy with the anti-choice guy, who he's there with the anti-tax guy who.
Right. I don't know shit.
His brother is against regulation.
Right, exactly. Well, okay, but I do know this one thing, which is one of the first commercials that Joni Ernst put out during this campaign season started out with her going, "Hey, I'm Joni Ernst. I grew up castrating hogs on an Iowa farm." That's funny, right? Castrating hogs?
It's not as good as Christine O'Donnell. I am not a witch.
What?
Yeah, like this lady was running for senator of Delaware, and she had to do a commercial in which she goes, "I am not a witch."
Were there rampant rumors that she was a witch?
That she like participated in some sort of witchcraft. Yeah, there was.
Is it just me, or does like every time there's a new election cycle, everything gets more and more ridiculous?
Vicious.
Vern, yeah, you'd be the one to know more than
Being the sagely Gandalf age guest we have.
I think they've always been bad, but they seem to be getting, I don't know.
More comical, at least, right? I mean,
the political ads seem to be worse and worse every year to me. I don't know. How long will it be until they're like, that bitch smokes pot?
Yeah.
Or
check this Instagram pic I got from her back when she was 18.
Yeah. Ask Jacula Walorski her views on getting a fucking tramp stamp when she was 19, bitch.
She's responsible for a dead baby in Florida.
Yeah.
In the dumpster.
Yeah. I can't wait.
What do you guys...
Okay, speaking of dumpsters, we have one of those child safe places. Do y'all have those? The like
Dumpsters?
Moses Law?
a firehouse back door?
All I know is the Quick Trip, the gas station I walk to when I'm really drunk to get some food at like 4 a.m, has a giant sign that says "Safe Place." Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a place where if you want to just give up your child, you can leave them there.
No, it's definitely not a Quick Trip gas station then.
There's like...
That's what those signs are,
like
designated safe place.
Right, I think there's a little box outside full of cotton and a doorbell or something, and you just drop the baby in there, ring the bell, and...
No, guys, I have to take a picture of this now, but I swear there's one of these like safe places where like you're allowed to like leave your kid and whatever. Sure. And the sign is like 10 feet from a dumpster. Like if you couldn't tell that it's for the building to the other side, you wouldn't know. Like it looks like it's saying, "Oh, just leave them in the dumpster."
Yeah, we're gonna need pictures of that. Me and the listeners.
All right, so
yeah, I'll give them.
I have a legitimate question. So the safe zone, is there actually some type of a bin to leave the baby in, or I mean, how do you do that? Because you don't want to talk to anybody when you're dumping your baby off. Right,
when you have your bathroom delivery and you have to just go drop off a 1 hour-year-old at the firehouse, you're supposed to just leave it on the doorstep.
Right. I mean, you got shit to do. You got to clean the prom dress off, and
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, am I gone?
No, I hear you.
Yeah. Definitely, you. I think. Well, I know with hospitals, if you leave them inside the hospital, that counts. And I think the deal is like you don't face criminal charges if you do that. Like, if you just leave them in a dumpster, that's criminal. If you take them to a firehouse and you're over your head, yada yada yada.
Right. There's got to be an anonymous way to do it, though. And I'm wondering, thinking the drop box is the only real way to do that.
Well, are you telling me we don't have like a hotline where you can call to have your kid picked up?
Yeah, like how quickly do you have to get rid of this child?
Like you can't like call like I don't know. I in my mind, Carrot Top would be in the commercials.
What the fuck? I wouldn't want any child anywhere near that fella.
It's like 1-800 Moses Law.
Dump kid. Dump kid. Kid dump. 1-800 kid dump.
They come and pick up the baby for you, and they're like, of course they make their money selling the kids into adoption.
Right. No questions asked.
Right.
But
we'll pay you for your baby.
Right.
No, we'll come by and give you an estimate on the spot. That's cash. in hand, and it's like $500. Like every crackhead is just like getting knocked out for the sole purpose of so they can get that fix.
God, I'm really needing my fix right now. Good thing I'm 8 months pregnant.
Unlike other baby pickup services, we don't deduct per scar.
Oh.
Jesus.
We kind of got into the issue there, but Vern, if you don't mind talking about it, you're a person who is a recovering addict, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'm still recovering. I feel recovered, but I think the proper term is recovering, which I think that's a little disempowering. But
I think that's part of, like, at least on the I pray at the altar of Dr. Drew. He's very big on the terminology that you're always recovering, you're never recovered.
Right, because if you're recovered, you don't need people like Dr. Drew in your life anymore.
Well, no, I mean, he's pushing a 12-step program that's free. He didn't make money on whatever. He makes money off people whose penis doesn't work, not off addicts that much. So
I understand the terminology. I mean, I get it. I get that.
So you have some pretty gnarly stories from your time. Your drug of choice was heroin, correct?
It was a close. You know what? What really got me into trouble was Xanax, and then heroin. I just kind of and it wasn't heroin. It was dilaudid morphine. There were. I just happened to get an outrageous prescription for that. And
what was your malady that they gave you dilaudid for?
Cluster headaches, which I legitimately have. But the thing is, there's not really any opiate that you can take for cluster headaches to do any type of. It won't improve anything for a cluster headache.
So you started out like you weren't into opiates before the prescription?
Yeah, not really. Nope. I was just pretty much into Xanax.
Okay. You have some gnarly stories, especially that I remember from when you were on methadone.
Yes.
I think you know the one I'm going for.
If it's it might be. It seems like I mentioned one time. I can't remember where about. I was on methadone. I was on 160 milligrams a day, which is like the state limit here in Michigan. And my mom had she had picked me up and she had taken me to the clinic. And on the way home, the big dose that hit me particularly hard, or I don't know if I was maybe getting the flu or something like that, but right before she dropped me off, I got sick and I threw up. It hit me so fast that I couldn't prepare for, I couldn't even prepare to puke into something. And so,
what does it feel like when methadone hits your system?
Oh, I can answer this too.
It's just a real warm, euphoric, dreamy.
Like physically warm or like emotionally warm?
Physically warm and just very comfortable, very womb-like. If you could imagine, the womb again, your a typical fucking description of an opiate, but a strong dose like that, liquid form, it really can sneak up on you.
So you throw up all over your mom's car.
Oh, well, I managed to it was such a strong, surprising event that I just lunged forward and like threw up between my legs. And she had a fairly newer car, so she was not happy about it. And but she pulled over. Actually, we were in my driveway. I'd almost made it all the way home. And now the thing is, when you're on that big of a dose and you get it from a clinic like that, it's all automated, so it's not like I could go back there and say, listen, I got sick and I threw up my daily dose. Can you, help me out here? You can't do anything like that. It's not even an option. I was lucky enough that it was still fairly, a new car to where it had a pretty sealed floor mat. But still, she hadn't cleaned the floor mat in days, I'm sure, if not weeks. And I knew that I had to get that vomit, that methadone that was in the vomit, I had to get it down or face, 24 hours of some really bad discomfort. So I told her, hey, I have to do this. I have to, get as much of that as I can back down my throat. And she just couldn't believe it. It was a very, it was a very shaming, I felt very ashamed to have to do that. And, but still I did it. And, luckily I collected, she had to stand outside the car. And while I did it, she just couldn't take it. And, I collected it up kind of like a taco, rolled it up and stood outside and just guzzled it and tried to hold it down.
Oh my God!
But there was dirt in it, and who knows what.
Oh my!
Did it still work?
Oh, absolutely, it did. It did.
Oh my God!
Were you like the next day telling battle stories to the nurse who dispenses your?
No, I don't think that's something you'd want to tell the nurse.
I didn't even want to tell. No, I didn't want to tell anybody about it. I had just gotten done. I was like a month. It was about a month after I was done with my last radiation treatment, and so I was finally done with all of that shit. So I was sick and I wasn't proud. I was so ashamed that I had to do that, man. It was a low point for sure.
I can't believe so you got it down.
I can't believe I did either,
that's
man.
That's fucking incredible. That's just wow.
Every time I hear the methadone taco story, it just amazes me every time. Now, you alluded to your radiation treatment. You're also a cancer survivor, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, man. It was a scary time for me. It was it's kind of weird because testicular cancer, which is what I had, it can be a very survivable thing, and you don't hear of a lot of people almost dying from testicular cancer. It's rare that you hear that, I think, and mine would have been very survivable too if it weren't for I was so fucked up on the opiates at the time that I had cancer all this time for probably over a year, where I didn't even notice it because I was on so many opiates. I was so numb, pretty much. So when I found out that I had the cancer, they told me stage 3, and I'm like, well, that's kind of cool because then everybody thinks, or at least I thought that all cancers have stage 4 stages, and stage 4 is worse than stage 3 naturally. But the doctor said, so I'm like, well, at least it's not stage 4. And he said, well, with this particular cancer, it only has 3 stages. The 3rd stage is the final stage, and stage 4 is death. And I'm like, well, okay. So I had, and it had metastasized up into my belly. There were tumors all over me, and it was much worse than what you think, what most people I think when they think someone had testicular cancer. It just got, because of my own fault, being so addicted on other shit, it was very advanced.
So how do you break the news to people when you're like, hey, I have cancer, and it's testicular, right? Because it's a little touchy subject, right?
I guess it's kind of it's still, I guess, embarrassing a little bit, just for that twinge moment, because people, if it comes up in conversation or whatever, and people say, oh, well, they want to know what kind of cancer you had, and
you want to be like, brain, homie, come at me.
Right. I just point to my groin and make humping motions.
And then go take a guess, bitch.
Right.
You want
Take their hand and put it down the front of your pants. And be like, you just feel around a bit. You'll figure it out.
count 'em.
Right. My other finger up to their lips.
Yeah. No, you grab their hand, put their finger in your lips while you.
Right.
So tell me about the conversation when you tell your mother that you have testicular cancer.
Oh man, it's so bad. Just because I really love my mom, and like the worst thing I want to do is ever tell her bad news, or you know what I'm saying? So it was particularly bad, and
Like, was there a lot of like crying, or was this like a come to Jesus type thing?
yeah, but it wasn't crying for like fear for at least on my part, like fear that I was dying.
Did you wait
crying.
until the NASCAR was over, or spring it on her?
I waited till after the race. Yeah.
Well, that's considerate of you.
Right. Yeah, but I remember that. I remember telling my grandma too over the phone, which was it's weird, man. You hear about people's like, how did you find out? When you find out, people say, well, when I found out they just told me nonchalantly, and I mean, I've heard that story a lot. They just fucking came up and told me I had cancer, man, and it was like, it was so like that for me. Like I was alone, and they just came up and pretty much. Well, it's not good news, and just very matter-of-factly, it's sad that people have to find out like that.
Yeah, they should have one of those party whistle things, and be like surprise,
big balloons and confetti, a big banner. Congratulations, you're the 1,000th cancer patient for the month of March.
You've won $40,000 in medical bills.
Yeah. Free chemo. The good news is you get to keep using drugs, and now you can play it off like you have an excuse for it. That went through my head, man, like during the, because I had access to all of these fucking new prescriptions, and like.
Oh, you were like, all right, well, let's go out having fun.
Oh, dude, I absolutely did, like, used it to rationalize me taking more, when I probably didn't need it. A lot of that time during treatment, man, is such a blur to me because of, all of the fucking
chemo.
Well, the chemo too, but the opiates and the benzos that they give you, and then the chemo on top of that, which just makes you fucking retarded. I mean, it really fucked with my head, the chemo did.
Now, at what point in the chemo did you start manufacturing methamphetamine?
I don't.
It didn't even occur to you?
No, I don't. Duh. I just got the Breaking Bad reference. I'm sorry.
You were like, I don't even.
Dude, I'm like, meth was never like on my forte.
You were like, I never told you about that.
No. I really I have very limited experience with meth, but now I get the sorry, I dropped the ball on that joke.
You blew it.
You literally dropped the ball.
Oh shit, Panda. It's hilarious.
Matthew. All right.
Very good.
So we take it that no, I don't even have to ask you. We encourage everyone self-examination. That's how you catch that stuff.
It's not
before
self-examination. Okay. No, we got to be serial here.
Yeah, if you want to be serious. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Panda.
No, go ahead with what you're saying. He was going to say self-examination of the prostate.
No,
I was going to say of your testicles for cancer.
Oh,
yeah,
have you just not touched your balls for what? Okay, yeah, actually, what do we look for here?
Well, just like a pro tip, as far as in my experience, when you're jacking it, okay, and you fucking right when you fucking come, or just like right afterwards, those tumors will like be the most most detectable, like at that point.
Okay, so I beat off,
Right.
and
Right after you ejaculate, like those tumors will be fucking the most easily found. They'll be like fucking hard and pressing out, like most easy to feel at that time.
Just feel around in there.
Yeah, so just cradle your balls when you jerk off, and you're covered. That way, you're covered. I mean, just for the sake of medical safety.
Actually, I don't know that we've talked about it really. I mean, so how did you? Was it eventually you went to a doctor? Obviously, what led you to get to that point?
Yeah, I woke up one day, and it felt like I'd been kicked in the groin, like out of nowhere, like in my dreams. Like it was like I've been dreaming of getting kicked in the nuts all night long, and that like woke up feeling, aching like that. And I went to the methadone clinic to get my daily dose, and I told the nurse there, I'm like, wow, I've got the weirdest feeling that my testicles hurt, and she made me promise her that I would go straight to the emergency room from there, and like she was like really serious, and when I told her, it was kind of in a nonchalant, I don't know, but she made a point to make me promise that I would go straight there. And so I'm like, fuck it, I got to do this. And I went right to the emergency room, and not an hour later, they tell me the news.
As they look at like a mountain range of tumors across.
So you never noticed anything previous to that?
I did, man, but it was like it's so weird, man. Like I must have felt those lumps fucking 100 times, but it never registered in my fucking brain.
How large are we talking?
Because they,
in terms of lumps, I mean,
well, like the tumors that I could feel on the testicle, like maybe the size of a pencil eraser, like that, but multiple. They said, when all was said and done, they said that they stopped counting tumors on the testicle when they got to 200. So, I mean, there's a lot of fucking little tumors on it, but about that size. And the largest tumor that was inside me in my abdomen was just a little bit smaller than a baseball. That was the largest, and there was like maybe 7 of those.
I never knew that it. Honestly, I guess we haven't talked about it as much as I thought we had. I didn't realize that it extended beyond just the testicles.
Yeah, man. Once it metastasizes, it like follows your bloodstream and starts making tumors everywhere.
So as far as the treatment went, did the chemo take care of the rest? Did you have surgery? I mean, what was the?
Yeah, I had surgery. I had the testicle removed, and then I had a pretty strong chemo, like 8 hours a day for a week, 8 hours a day for a week, and then you get a week and a half off, and then 8 hours a day for a week, and then like that cycle, I did that for like 3 months, and then I had 25 radiation treatments on top of that. One of the scariest things was the biopsy, because they wanted to do a biopsy on this big tumor in my abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walk into the hospital that day like completely like I have no idea what to expect, or I don't know if I'm gonna have surgery or how they're gonna take this a piece of this tissue that's like by my spine. And they fucking call me in from the waiting room, and I shake hands with this little guy who's apparently a doctor. We go into this room like the size of a fucking big closet, and he's got his desk there, like where he does paperwork and shit like that. And he tells me to lift up my shirt. I lift up my shirt, and I mean it was like very like a rapey kind of a scene, and like it's something. It was definitely like a shady feel to it, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Is he prepping me for? I thought I was coming in this little office for him to like brief me on what's going to happen for surgery and stuff, and So I lift my shirt up a little bit, and he takes a fucking swab with that iodine shit and like makes a mark right above my belly button, and then picks up this instrument. Like there's no lady there to help him or anything. He picks up this weird looking instrument, and he goes, "Okay, now hold still." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm not knowing, thinking he's gonna give me a shot or something. And he fucking takes this thing like the circumference of like a car antenna or like a cheap radio antenna, and he stabs me in the fucking abdomen, like fucking stabs the thing into me.
No painkillers.
No painkillers. No. The only warning, he's like, okay, just stand still real quick, and I'm like, oh, okay, and he fucking stabs me deep into my gut, like all the way back to my spine, near my spine where this tumor's at. And then he's like, okay, hold still. And then he takes another something and threads it through the thing that he just stabbed me with. And it's like, and I'm looking down like, oh my God, this guy just stabbed the fuck out of me. Like I was in shock, and I'm on my feet, standing up, having this done. And he pulled, he did whatever. He pulled that wire out, put the shit in a vial, and then pulled this fucking antenna out of me. Holds like a fucking sterile rag up to me, and he's like, "Here, hold this." So I'm holding where he just, applying. It was just so fucking strange because I thought it was gonna be like a legit lay down surgery. And I come out, after like 10 minutes, and my mom's in the waiting room, and she's like, "So you're ready to have surgery?" And I'm like, "Mom, he just fucking, I think I just had it. I think I just had the surgery." Nuts.
So, moral of the story is, if you don't want to get stabbed by small men in offices,
fondle your balls.
Exactly, self-examination, folks.
The last 2 weeks combined of our podcast is all about men's health. Fondle your balls.
We're changing the name to Public Service Announcement Radio.
Yeah, PSA, PSA bros. But that's great. I can't believe that. Like, that doesn't even seem like that should be allowed. They have to at least tell you what's going to happen first.
You know what, Panda Man? Thinking back on it now, I'm almost fucking glad that they did it the way that he did it the way that he did it, because if I would have known what the fuck was going to happen, like all the way there for like days before, I'd be like thinking about it, worrying about it, and like I kind of liked the surprise element. It was fucked up, but looking back on it, I'm kind of glad it happened. I'm kind of glad because it was over, in like 10 minutes, and it was just very. It's like surprise medicine.
Well, that's exactly what it was, surprise medicine.
All right. Awesome. All right, Vern. We're going to wrap this up here. We appreciate you coming on, man. Everyone.
No, thanks for having me on. I'm sorry if I got a little chatty there.
No, you were great,
what do you mean chatty?
We are fans of Vern Struble. Go ahead and tell people where to find your podcast.
You can find the podcast. Just go to YouTube and search in there the Learn, Vern, Learn, or just Google Learn, Vern, Learn, and you should be the first Google result there. We used to do it on Ustream, but since I'm not doing it live right now, it's I'm just uploading them to YouTube or Podomatic. Go to Podomatic and search Learn, Vern, Learn there, or iTunes. Fuck, make it real easy. It's on iTunes, so any of those places you can find it, and I really appreciate every person that listens to it. I love you guys, and thank you guys for having me on.
No, man, thank you for coming on.
Definitely. And we've already mentioned it, but I mean, your podcast was kind of the inspiration that for us to have even thought that it was possible to start one. So you're kind of the godfather.
I'm glad you guys are doing it.
You're the godfather of the MaD Bro Radio podcast.
Thank you. I'm proud. I'm glad you guys are doing it. I really
spiritual leader.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. I wish you guys the best of luck. You're not going to need it, but You guys are rocking. Good luck with
All
it.
right.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
And thanks
take
everyone
care.
for listening. Bye, friends.
Yep. Bye, friends.
Alright, everybody, thanks for listening. This was the MaD Radio podcast. I was your host, Robert Davis, and my co-host, Nancy Flowers. We were joined by Vern Struble. Alright, everybody, the comment section was the links to the new SoundCloud, and in the near future, we will be getting you all the information on how to have more access to the show. We actually start with YouTube videos also. We'll have more information on that later. We will see y'all next week. Mahalo.